Hello, this is Janetta Bilheimer. I'm the Director of Association for Wise Childbearing, and I have been a birth and labor doula for many, many years, for like over 20 years. So, and I don't know when in the future that you'll be watching this course, and so, um, it could be well over 25 by the time that you're watching the course. But I have been working with childbearing women and families for quite a long time. And um, I have seen how important it is to be healed and to be, um, ready emotionally and mentally, as well as physically, um, when you give birth. And the reason that this is so important is that, you know, when we have um, when we have a lot of emotions and things like that, it can be really hard for number one, to give birth. And women can get really just hung up and not able to get past um, things because when you're having your baby, you go into this place that is really emotional, that you go within, and it's this place that you need to be able to go and need to be able to feel safe. And if you don't, you a lot of times it can really just stop labor. If a well, I grew up in an agricultural area of the world, and if another mammal's labor has been stalled due to emotional interferences, physical interferences, it can really just even stop labor from happening, and contractions can just stop, and and that can be detrimental to the baby. Maybe things can will start back up again once the laboring mammal is left alone again to just go into that quiet place. But if they're disturbed, then things could, it can even be detrimental to that mammal. And of course, as humans, we're mammals, and but we have sometimes we have more emotional. I don't know. I mean, I know that animals can have a lot of emotional things that have happened to them. Um, but humans can also, and there's things that we can do about it. And our lives are usually a lot longer than our other mammal counterparts, and so there's more opportunity to have had traumatic experiences. So whether those traumatic experiences happened during a previous birth experience, which can often be the case, because of not being treated respectfully, of um, caregivers not being honest, of there's just a whole lot of different things that can happen because birth is life, isn't it? And so I've seen various experiences where it's been difficult for women to be able to let go and to have their babies. And I know from my own personal experience, have given birth to 6 children, and I've even had some miscarriages and um, um, things like that. I've had some very difficult experiences, particularly in the beginning before I knew how to give birth easily. And so I've been there. And and then not only that, but we all carry anchors from things that have happened to us in the past. Whether that again is during childbirth, I've had some amazing experiences also. So after healing, um, but or whether that possibly could be in your adult life, in your childhood, in when you were a baby, or even um, in the womb, or even before this life. And I believe that there was a pre-existence to our lives on this earth and to our lives in the womb. So who knows exactly what all we could be dealing with. And the good news is that we don't necessarily need to know everything or even remember, because some things were just so traumatic that even years of our lives can be blocked out and we can't even remember. There are those who can't remember, what happened in their lives between this and this date, or just those years, and the things that they remember are perhaps just from seeing photographs, um, and that's how they knew, what transpired between that time and that time. There's people who have had extremely, extremely traumatic experiences, and then those that have had experiences that were so extreme, but that other people would say, well, why was that extreme? That I had that same thing happen, but I'm okay. And but we all process things differently. We all have different personalities, makeups, different constitutions, um, abilities to process things. Everyone is just different in a lot of different ways, which is interesting that in that we are all very similar as well. And one of the ways that we are similar is that I think that we all have trauma that we deal with. And even if it may be, something that you might feel like is not as big as what your neighbor has gone through, or, you haven't ever been, in, say, Bali when there was a huge earthquake, or when there was a huge natural disaster and that was extremely traumatic, losing all of your family members, or just even one child, is can be extremely traumatic. A miscarriage can be very traumatic. There are a lot of different things that that can cause trauma in our lives. And I'm remember in Open Season, the book by Nancy Weiner, and she talks about how in her childbirth classes, on the first night, she gets right into trauma and clearing that. And she does some really like crazy, crazy wild things. And like I loved that when I read that. Clear back in probably the 90s, I read her book, and it was for the 90s. She's also the author of Silent Knife, which is about recovering from cesarean section, and then going on to have a vaginal birth after cesarean. And I know for myself, I had two cesareans, and um, and that was some stuff that I needed to recover from because they were both unexpected and also unnecessary looking back, more for convenience of my caregivers. And so there's all kinds of things that actually, as we're traveling through life, it can anchor us down. Um, and so, and then so imagine that there's, all these anchors. Not only can this affect us at the time of birth, but this can affect us from moving forward in our lives to have trauma. And so it's important to clear those. And so Nancy Weiner she talked about in her book, about that it was kind of like a little bit like having all of these little black balls of yarn all stuffed down inside you. And if you've got all of those balls of yarn inside you, um, and I don't know if was it balls of yarn? It was anyway, these black things in you. How is the baby going to get out? It's going to be a lot harder than if everything's cleared out and there's a lot of wonderful room, because giving birth is a very, very emotional thing that you do, and you go right into that part of your brain that is um it's just very, oh, what is even the word, it's a very important part of your mind that needs to be functioning well, and you need to feel safe and able to let go, to trust those around you, to trust that things have been set up around you, and so that you are able to let go and to give birth. Um, so I am just like really excited to welcome you to this course. I think that probably one of the main reasons that I created this course and that I knew that it needed to come forth. Um, I conceptualized this course years ago, and I think that one of the biggest reasons for this course is so that you can go forth and make decisions that are good for you and that are right for you. Because sometimes, you know, if we're working on the, if we are dealing with the fear a lot, um, it's so hard to make decisions that are actually positive ones for us. So, um, in 2012, I released my book um, called Wise Childbearing: What You'll Want to Know as You Make Your Birth Choices. And so in it, I really recommend it, because I actually spent years gathering information, all the information you would need, giving the pros and cons of each of the um, decisions, you know, that you would that would come up for you, and of different tests, of different interventions that often happen at birth. You know, whether you're giving birth at home, in a birth center, in the hospital, um, there are decisions to be made. But then I began to realize, after I had written the book, that it can be very hard to make good decisions. Um, and I was realizing this, of course, as a young doula and childbirth educator, and as I was writing the book also. But it just became very clear to me that this is what I needed to do, was to have a course on um, releasing the fears, the trauma, and all that can hold you back from actually making the decision that's the best one for you, because all choices are not created equal. And so sometimes we think, well, if I make this choice or this choice, it doesn't really matter, but there's usually always a choice that's better than another. But if we are too messed up in our minds, we're too worried, we're too fearful, it can really be hard to make a decision that might be the best one for us. And even if we did make that decision, could we easily carry out that decision if we have a lot of fear? So I'm going to be giving you some techniques and things that will help you to release those fears quickly and easily. Some people spend years and years in therapy, in doing particular modalities that just are really lengthy and take a lot of processing and things. And I'm not saying that there's not amazing modalities out there and all, and amazing counselors, because there is. But I also want you to know that I have been led to some really, really, really effective, beautiful techniques through the years that are even kind of simple. Um, but that even if you have had great trauma, can be very, very helpful to you. Um, I want you to know right now that I am not a psychologist, psychiatrist. I don't have any training in those kinds of areas. What I do have is almost, or maybe more by now, 25 years of experience as a birth and labor doula, as an author, writing my book. Writing a blog for many, many years, working with women and working with families, working with babies, experiencing things myself, working with my own children and with other clients as I become an energy practitioner, helping women to recover from experiences in their lives that may pertain to births that they've experienced in the past or from any other number of just life experiences. So just to give you that disclaimer here, um, but I do want you to know that I've had a lot of experience with helping people to recover from difficult and traumatic experiences. And in fact, I pretty much use this on a daily, if not many, many times during the day of releasing and helping others to release. So just even as we just go along, as I go along with my life, my own, personal life, I experience things and I find I need to release those. So we could have just, thing after thing after thing that we're dealing with and not even really understand where certain fears come from. And then things build upon things. And so it's good to know these release techniques so that anytime that you need to use them, that you will have them. I do have a wealth of information to share with you, as do the wonderful experts and others in the field who have allowed me to interview them. There are some amazing, amazing people, from Suzanne Arms to Barbara Harper, to Robin Lim. There are some really amazing speakers, and I want you to check them out and see the wealth of information that this class holds. So I've been able to interview them in their about in their expertise and in their areas of expertise. There's a wealth of knowledge here, and I am just so excited to bring you this information and to help you to release and give you techniques that can take you back into your past. I've done a lot with hypnotherapy. I've been a hypnobirthing teacher for many, many years, and almost as long as being, well, it was maybe a few years into being a doula and a childbirth educator. But there are techniques that we use in our hypnobirthing class, and I definitely encourage you to check in to that class and check that out and take that class, because there's some beautiful, beautiful um, scripts and other things that we do to get rid of the negative and to be able to just let go, totally relax, and be able to give birth, maybe even really, really comfortably, if you apply things and if you really take things to heart and really decide to do them. I know that I gave birth pain-free labors for my last 3 babies. Now, my first 3, different story. I had things different stories. I have things to learn. And not that all of my last rebirths were just straightforward. Um, and there were a lot of things that I needed to deal with myself. And so coming here from a lot of personal experience in my field, professionally, personally, and then also with my energy work that I have taken on in the last um, years. I've really been led to a lot of wonderful things, and so I am really excited to share them with you. And with um, with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started in the class. So just sign up, and um, you will be able to go in and you can watch all of the wonderful videos. Now things will come up. I want you to take notes as you're watching each of the videos that will come in modules throughout the class, um, of me interviewing these experts who will be talking about the baby. The A baby can have such experiences, such I mean, when you are okay, so a little bit further adieu here. Um, when babies can when you're pregnant, I mean that can be a really emotional time for a mother, and a time of great change for the family. A lot of times we're moving or there are relationship issues, and there can really be some things to clear, and that can really imprint on a baby's mind. And so I don't want you to feel guilty about that. I know that I have had the same, and I've had to apologize to one particular child recently, just talking to her and telling her that I'm sorry that things were so emotional during the time that she was in the womb, and she's really my most mentally stimulated, as far as um, having trauma in her life and having things that she's got to deal with, child. And so there really are things that we can't go back. We can go back and in our minds and fix things, but sometimes life is life. And so what we want to do is to be able to go back in and just clean things up and know that we can do that and that it's okay. Whatever our past has been, um, not okay that, maybe somebody did terrible things to you. No. Um, but there are things that you can do about it. And so that is the good news. And you can get on with your life. Um, so I asked you in this class to actually be ready to let go. And sometimes we've come to perhaps some of us have come to define ourselves by particular things that have happened to us in our past. But I want you to know that you are not what has happened to you. And you're so much more than that. You were so much more even before you came to this life. And there, I believe that you have come to this class and become interested in this class and watch this video, this lengthy video, all the way to this point because it's time to heal. And it's time to pull up those anchors and to get rid of them and send them packing, and to take what you've learned from those experiences, those life experiences, um, and to embrace healing and to do what you need to do to heal. Because really, it is about you healing. And nobody here is going to heal you, but you are going to be able to get to have these very, very helpful techniques that will help you to pull up those anchors yourself and to heal and not have to spend, hopefully, depending on what your intention is. But if your intention is to heal, then let this be now and the time to heal. But to be able to pull up those anchors and to take these techniques and to help them to work for you. Um, so I will be here um, for you if you need to have some other sessions beyond these. Let me know, and let's get together. Let's schedule an appointment and some appointments. Um, but I just want you to know that I am here for you, and that I believe that you have angels around you who are there for you also, that will help you. So take the things that you have learned from this class, take notes, um, write down how they apply to you, and I will see you inside of the course. There are some the amazing techniques that I've been talking about inside of the course. And as you're listening, things will be brought up, which is a great thing. And it's also a great way to heal, to listening, to be just even listening and taking notes and thinking about it. But as these emotions come up, know that there are things that you can do to help you with them and to move forward in your life. Um, Making no promises, because we're supposed to have, we need to have disclaimers. And really, all healing is up to you. And so I ask you to have the intention that you can heal and that there is help, that there are people who care about you very much, and that this world needs you and they need your message. So I just, I'm excited for you to be able to take this course and to then be able to give birth freely and um, and unhindered. So I will, yeah, let me know how I can help you with maybe even a private consultation. And within that private consultation, who knows what will come up. Sometimes it's I've been having this ache, this pain, this illness, um, and we can work on things. We can help with different kinds of things like that. Ultimately, it's you and your intention on healing, and I can show you ways to do that. And you don't need to you don't need to go to a therapist forever. I say that with the disclaimer, you know, I'll leave that up to you and your therapist. But I know that for me and a lot of other people that we've been able to heal and heal and heal again with these techniques, even very difficult experiences that we've had. Um, So, not saying to get off medication or anything like that, but there are resources that you can go to and that you'll be led to for the things that you need. And so there is help.